everybody, on this September 27th. It's episode 20, or is it 21?
21.
21. So that means
WinExtra can now go for a beer.
And buy a hooker.
Where it's legal.
Mind you, we're in Canada, so we could do that anyway. But oh God, what a way to start a show, eh?
We just went down from great aspirations from a show to in the gutter within like 5 seconds.
Yes, but we're going to take this back up with some rather interesting news that came out just before showtime. Microsoft is killing off Windows Live Spaces and moving.
About time?
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. But the partnership is interesting. They're moving everybody over to WordPress.com.
Yeah, that is interesting. The choice of Automatic, the choice of WordPress.com. I mean, you're talking about Spaces has, 7 million blogs? Yeah, okay. 7 million blogs.
Let's be clear on that. We don't know how many of them are spammers or whatever.
I'll say they'll be lucky if there's 100,000 actual functioning being used blogs. Because I know, personally, I'm responsible for at least 3 of them that never get updated. And
I think I have one.
Yeah. And WordPress.com is, of course, the premier blogging service out there. I mean, there's nothing really out there that can touch it. They already have the infrastructure for hosting millions upon millions of blogs. It's a good move. Spaces has languished too long. It has always been a subpar blogging platform. And WordPress is kind of, WordPress.com, for people who aren't looking for the ultimate in control of their blogs, which, anybody who was still blogging on Spaces wasn't anyway, would be very, very happy on WordPress.com because it does give you more options, but it's also just a far superior blogging platform. And it's probably good to see Microsoft streamlining something that wasn't really doing any good for it, bringing any value.
Why expend the talent or the man hours on something that basically is dead in the water anyway?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there'd be any sort of Microsoft/Automatic co-branding on those particular blogs or anything. We know that they're launching Messenger Connect, so that people who are on MSN on WordPress.com can send updates of their blog posts, their Messenger friends, but I don't know. This was only announced a couple of minutes before a show at Tech Lunch Disrupt on webcast, so a lot of it is still speculation. But either way, you have 6 months to get your butt off Spaces and onto WordPress.com.
Yes. The other part of the news, I guess, obviously is Windows Phone 7 and the 2 different launch dates we've got. One for Europe, which, according to NeoWin, is October 21st.
Well, I thought we pinned down October 21st last week. And the week before that.
Yeah, somewhere. We were going with the 11th, to be honest. Let's be honest. We were shooting at the 11th. But that's because...
Yeah, the 11th was the announcement date.
Yeah.
But last week we pinned down the 21st as handset arrival date.
Yeah.
Now it's being apparently confirmed that on October 21st, the handsets will come. And here's the kicker. They're coming to the UK, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. So it's a European launch.
Yes.
According to other sources, CNET.com and Paul Thurrott, who is usually highly reliable on this stuff, the people on this side of the Atlantic, the American side of the Atlantic, aren't going to get their grubby little mitts on any handsets until November 8th.
Now, of course, I have to take the patriotic viewpoint here. We're still not hearing word on when Canada will be getting them. Now, it is assumed from what past word Microsoft has leaked out that Windows Phone 7 will launch on the same day in both countries. So
it's assumed. You're crossing fingers and toes.
Yes, not that it will make any difference for me personally, unless, of course, Microsoft takes kindly to me. But on that note, it's November 8th for the U.S., possibly Canada, 21st October.
Never know. Maybe one of the 33 Canadians might get their hands on a handset. You can all sit around the campfire and share it.
Yes, over a 24-pack of I Am Canadian. Right. Okay.
Microsoft are moving and shaking in Minnesota.
Yes, they are. They are. Actually, this is a pretty major move from what they're saying. It's a historic cloud agreement.
Okay. Historic. How is this historic? Well, I suppose Minnesota is now the first state to basically have its back end, its enterprise unified communications and collaboration services completely switched over to the Microsoft Productivity Online Suite. So basically, all the back end is going to be handled in Microsoft's cloud. This is big to save money for Minnesota. It's a big contract for Microsoft. It's not exactly consumer news, so it doesn't really have a place on this show but, you know, it's still worth, I felt at least, it's still worth mentioning to see that, you know what, you know, it's not like Google down in California. At least Microsoft are winning contracts. know?
Yeah, and not having to get the contract changed to meet their needs. So
Exactly.
yes,
Exactly.
Well, congratulations, Microsoft, and way to go. Yeah, you deserve that one. Read Write Web. Oh, just a quick note. I want to call out a congratulations to Sarah Perez, who's also over on the Microsoft On9 site, who does a lot of Microsoft reporting. She's now the head of the Read Write mobile channel. She's the head editor there now. They just started up. She got the nod for doing it. So congratulations to Sarah.
Excellent.
Microsoft brings travel search and improved maps to Bing iPhone app.
Yeah, it's just, some improvements to the Bing iPhone map for those of you who use it. It's not a whole lot of stuff. Obviously, there's travel search in there. The big kicker now, I think, the thing that's most interesting to anybody is that the maps. Basically, all that has been done with the maps is that they've improved the legibility, basically, because there's so many layers of information now that in the previous version, it was a bit difficult to see what was going on. But things, basically are more readable if you have an iPhone. That's it. I can't stretch anymore into it.
I know. It's
unless I start making up stuff and say things like, it pinpoints every phone box that Superman has ever changed in.
Now, there might be a Bing app for that.
There could be an app for that. I wouldn't be surprised if some nerd somewhere has mapped Superman's phone boxes.
Because that's one thing with the Bing Maps is that there is quite a little bit of an apps environment around it that you can add layers of all kinds of different things.
Oh yeah, there's a huge sort of mashup culture.
Yeah.
Bing Maps, because they expose so much data on it and make it really easy to use.
Yeah, but of course, none of this really matters because nobody pays any attention to Microsoft news anyway. So we're just sort of going off into the wind here.
After doing these podcasts with you, we're 21 episodes into this. We're 20 episodes of the weekly podcast, and we must have been around the tech sphere for like ever and a day. We make the dinosaurs look young, but this study by Pew Research Center has to be the exercise in let's see what we can waste money on to state the obvious. The blatantly obvious in this case is that Microsoft has fallen off the mainstream media's radar. Now they did a study from June 2009 to June 2010 around 500 odd blogs or sites or something like that.
It was 437 tech-related stories that ran on as leads in 52 different news outlets.
Yes, that's it exactly. And they find out that only 3% of those lead stories were Microsoft stories. And that surprise, 15% were Apple because everybody's on the Apple Kool-Aid.
Yes.
Well, you know what? At least we're not RIM.
Or AT&T or Comcast.
Who all came in with 0.09%. Now, I haven't seen a list of these blogs, but you told me that doing the summary of the blogs, A lot of these blogs aren't tech blogs.
No. No.
Well, maybe that was the point of it. Aren't these supposed to be mainstream sites?
Well, the 12 that they quoted in as part of their study were things like MSNBC.com, WallStreetJournal.com, CNN.com, but nowhere did we see places like God help us, Mashable and TechCrunch.
Well, let's be serious. Mashable is not mainstream. I mean, the title here is Microsoft's out of the mainstream media. Mashable is the tech blogosphere darling. It's yeah. I was at a party yesterday, the day before yesterday. I was at one yesterday as well, but I was at one the day before yesterday. Pictures are up on Facebook for anybody who wants to insult me. It was a white trash party, and just regular people who get dressed up like rednecks and white trash and have a party. And I guarantee you, there's nobody there who knows what Mashable is, or Lifehacker, or TechCrunch. These are just regular people going about their lives. They're not geeks like the rest of us.
And they don't really
So yeah, Microsoft is not in the mainstream media anymore. Well, you know what? That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because if they're below the radar of the mainstream media, they're not getting beaten up by the mainstream media.
Yeah.
Which means if their products are just coming out and are cool, that they can build on that base and lose the sort of bad feeling that has been predominating. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yes, predominantly.
Yes, dominating the news sphere for years. That's today's news. It's a slow news day.
Yeah, it's a slow news. Only one good bangbuster headline, which was really good to see, and a surprise, major surprise. But on that note, this is Steve and Paul over there.
Last I checked, anyway.
Yes, we're done for the day. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day, everybody.
Have a good one, folks.